First, when was the last time you were in Ukraine? It was a few months back, right?
It was in March. So
Okay.
yeah, it's been 4 months since I came back, and there it's completely different. And I
Okay.
have
So
four
tell
or
us about
five
the
things we can talk about.
yeah, yeah. Tell us about the differences, what you see, what your observations are about just, what can you detect? Just I mean, you've been back one day. What have you
No,
detected?
I've only been back 12 hours.
12
So
hours. What
I've
have you
been back in
detected
the
so
country
far?
for 12 hours and got some rest. I was up for 48 hours traveling,
Mm,
and the travel is difficult. So, 3 planes, 2 trains, 2 vehicles, our battle bus, which Johnny Pierce nicknamed Zhenya in our truck, our Navara, the battle bus. But being back in, I can already tell in having personal conversations directly with Zhenya the change in atmosphere,
mhm,
and the physical changes on the ground that I have seen are blatantly obvious.
mhm.
And some of this is positive, and some of this is not so positive.
Okay.
So let's start first coming across the border. So I've worked in Ukraine for now 28 years. I've crossed that border so many times I can't even count. Now, pre-war, I fly to Kyiv, of course, but now
Mhm.
for the last 3.5 years, I've been coming into Poland because the airport's closed in Kyiv, of course, and I take the train just like Zelensky does when he leaves the country so much, and it's very tiring. Um, but every time I've come across the border, whether in a train or in a car, um, up till this point in time, there have always been at least 20 Ukrainian border guards checking the train when you come into the country. Because typically, 3 to 4 cars are on that train. You come to the border and you sit for an hour and you go
Mhm.
through immigration, border check, document check, customs, and it's very detailed process, of course, coming into Ukraine. But this time was completely different. And I was actually communicating with Zhenya during that. So I want you guys to think about this both in a positive and a negative.
Mhm.
First of all, there were not 20 border guards. And typically, the age of those border guards are between 25 and 35. Young people doing their jobs quickly, expeditiously, checking documents, going through all the processes, especially for someone like me who comes in with gear. I
Mhm.
came in with stuff for our soldiers. But this time, there were not 20 border guards for the train. There
Okay.
were two. There was one man that was at least 60 in a military uniform checking passport control. And there was his partner walking beside him doing customs and immigration. And he was at least 60 years old. And listen, I'm not pumping on 60, I'm 52. So, but all white hair and a grandpa. And that was it. There was no dog check. There was no uh, group of soldiers.
Yeah.
And instead of taking so much time when the guys came to me, they looked at me, they saw my bags, and typically I would always be checked. They checked my documents. They said, "Hey, welcome. You coming to help?" I said, "Yeah." "All right, thank you." Boom. Uh, Anything we need to talk about in your bags? I said, "No." Boom. Done. And I called Jania. I said, "Man, what's going on?" I said,
Yeah.
he goes, "Man, our guys are fighting. We've had to
Yeah.
make those
So my
rotations."
our guess would be mobilization of these guys, right? Okay.
Rotation. They were already mobilized or they were already border guards. So they've been rotated, whether it's to Kyiv or to other rear support or to Frontline.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, which now, don't everybody take that as bad news, because Zhenya and I have actually been complaining about that, to be quite honest with you, that,
Mhm.
okay, we're struggling with soldier numbers. Why are there 20 guys checking a 3 car train? Let's get them to Kyiv on rear guard. Let's get them to Poltava. Let's get them to
Yeah, yeah.
Donetsk. Yeah. So,
Okay. So yeah, you said you had 5 or so observations. What
yeah,
else
so
did
that's
you
the
see?
first one. The borders change, and I take that as a positive and a negative. Secondly, I actually took the train into the, and I can say all this now, to the city of Ternopil, and that's as far as I went. And Jenya met me there, and this is so funny. I hopped off the train. He's standing there. I hand him my bags, and the moment The moment my foot hit the ground, it's like a movie. The air alarms went off. Those MiG 31s in the air, and Genia said, "Well, welcome home." I mean, that was it. So it's constant. I can tell you that the infrastructure in the cities is completely different because so many people have been mobilized and moved and adjusted. Even driving through Ternopil, I can just see the difference in infrastructure because whether it be police or road signage, road construction, people working. And this was a Saturday afternoon. It was a lot of confusion in the road systems because of roads being rerouted, rediverted. Um, Thirdly, the third thing I noticed was the price of fuel.
Mhm.
And we went past our first gas station, which is in Oko. I'm an Oko man, just like President Zelensky. And I said, man, because I don't go by what I see on pictures unless I'm home out of the country. I'm here now. So I can
Mhm.
tell you point blank, because you never know if you see a picture if it was taken today or 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
But I'm driving by the gas stations, Oko, and I look at the price of fuel and I said, man, what is going on? He says, to fill our truck now, when we started running 3 years ago with our truck, to fill it was $60
Mhm.
for diesel. It now costs, if we're dead empty and we only buy the highest quality diesel. And you may ask, okay, why would you do that? Because Zhenya just came back from the front line. He had to drive through the nets over towards Donetsk region. I won't tell where. And it was so dangerous after he dropped the gear just days ago. The soldier says, okay, you're going to go back through the nets and you do not drive under 150 kilometers per hour.
Translate
Nobody's
that
in
to miles per hour, that's what?
100
90?
miles an hour,
Yeah.
95 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And he said, it's too dangerous. And there's nobody in the road. This is what we do. It's a rocket launch to get you out of the most dangerous area. So Zhenya, we just make the decision. Okay, you don't goof around
You
with
don't
cheap
cheap out on
fuel.
gas. Yeah.
So exactly.
Yeah.
So it now costs us $120 to fill our tank. It's twice as expensive.
Wow. Yeah.
So I noticed that. Thirdly, I've noticed the price of goods because I did stop in a market. I'm actually heading out now to buy some contact solution. You got a lot of guys on my channel know I have eye issues with a condition, and I don't want to travel with big bottles of solution. So wherever you're at in the world, if you wear contacts, you can go to your pharmacy and buy a big bottle of saline solution for about $6. I'm getting ready to go pay $14 a bottle for saline solution.
Mm.
The cost of food. Um, I always buy the same things that go in my refrigerator in my apartment, which is basically meat, cheese, yogurts, water. I like 7 Up Zero and water with gas. I have a little shopping. It's always the same, and a
Okay,
coffee
when
creamer
you
and
say with
coffee.
gas, if you haven't traveled to Europe, that means carbonated.
Yeah, carbonated water with gas. So when I was here in March, the same exact products cost 800 grivna, which is
Okay.
$20, because I send my buddy to go get them before I arrive. This time he went and bought them. It was 1,200 grivna. The same exact allotment, the same supply, the same brand. So you know, it's instead of 800 grivna, it's 1,200 grivna. The course, that's Russian or Ukrainian. The exchange rate is now 42. It was at 43 when I was here. It was at 40. So that's a struggle as well.
Yeah.
But with that said, people are exhausted. Everybody, but they're
Mhm.
resilient. They're resilient. They're fighting. They're supporting. Um, but it's challenging. It's
Yeah, sure.
challenging.
Was there another observation, or was that
Um,
all of them?
no, I think I lumped them all into one.
Border,
Um,
mobilization, economy.
Okay, mobilization. Yes, observational mobilization. There are mobilization points everywhere. I have never seen this many mobilization points. And I know that people see a lot of videos that Russia likes to push out, and propaganda likes to push out, of these guys fighting and beating. And there was a big story yesterday in Kiev. There was a mobilization that took place that was a mistake, and there was a 6-minute fight in Kiev. So, one thing people come to your channel or my channel for is we try to do our very best to tell the exact truth. So,
Mhm.
yesterday there was a mistake made in mobilization, and you will see the story out today, and Russia will use it. There was a 6-minute fight between people and the police in Kiev.
Mm.
and they made a mistake. They had gotten the documents wrong, and they were trying to take the wrong person. It was a
Mhm.
17-year-old boy, and the mama was screaming, "It's my 17-year-old son! It's my 17-year-old son!" And then all of the neighbors came, and I'm just going to tell you the truth. They beat the tar out of that police
Mm.
because they'd gotten it wrong. And then once they realized they were wrong, they said, "Sorry, we were wrong." Okay,
Mm.
so the scene was ugly, but
Yeah.
it ended well. But the reality is,
You won't see
mobilization.
that in the end on RT, will you?
You won't see that on the end on RT. The result of it. So I want you to know the result of it. You're going to see that it was a big fight in Kiev in a white van, police in the black, grabbing the wrong guy. But you don't see the end result.
Yeah.
But the reality is, mobilization here is very difficult, and it's a challenge right here in my own city. And people know that I base in Khmelnytsky, Ukraine, and then from here we run to Kiev, and we run east, and we run south. Um, there are mobilization checkpoints everywhere,
Mhm.
and you better have your documents proper. And what they've done now, because people on different chat groups, whether it be like a Telegram or a WhatsApp or
Yeah.
a Viber, they've been
Say
trying to
where they
get
are.
exactly
Yeah.
wanting to know where mobilization units are. That doesn't work anymore, because now they set up multiple mobilization points. So
Yeah.
if you're going and somebody says, okay, it's at this intersection and people turn right, they turn right to avoid it. There's another mobilization point there. And it's not that Ukraine's trying to be evil about it. It's just they're trying to do the law. And
Yeah.
we need soldiers.
Yeah, yeah.
We need soldiers. So
Okay, so
I see that atmosphere is different.
tell me how long you're planning to be there and, while you're running the lines.
I'm going to be here at least until September, so all of the rest of this summer. Um, our first run is out east. Um, we have a project to do there. Additionally, we want to thank you guys for participating in our last joint project, Professor Gertis and Project Konstantin. I can tell you that those vampire drones are about ready. And as we promised you, I will be with the drone operator and the delivery of that. And we'll be reporting that back to my channel, Professor Gertis's channel, and Project Constantine's channel. That's Projects in Success. And we're also continuing to support all of the units that are supported through us, which is Zhenya, myself, Prof. Gertis, and encouraging the guys, plus a lot of the civilians that I've grown to come in contact with, and they've become a part of my channel over the years, telling the human story, like a Kirill, the young
Mhm.
boy
Sure.
that's very close to the front lines. I'm going to do my very best to get to Kirill. His area is horribly dangerous right now, horribly dangerous. The
What
war's changed. It's tough, man. Within 25 kilometers of the front line, up to even up to 40. Okay, pushing it, but 25 officially, it's a kill zone.
mm. Yeah,
Yesterday in
that's really the issue with drones, and that's why there's not gonna be any big breakthrough on either side. There's just it's you just can't move with the drones, right?
the
Alright,
only breakthrough we're going to see is in Покrovsk. It's going to happen.
yeah.
Ukraine
Yeah, yeah.
will
I mean,
hold out the best they can, but yeah, that
you and I were talking about Procross last year at this
we
time,
were, we
and
were.
so it
Ukraine has defended valiantly,
yeah,
especially undermanned, and Russia rotating in a lot right now. We're going to see what happens with the tariffs and the sanctions, but I don't believe much is going to come from that, especially after Modi's statement today. He says we have our own economy in our own world. This is not how it works. That's directly from Modi. I
yeah,
mean, it's not a journalist, and I'm going to be putting that up translated on a
yeah.
video
We'll see
later.
how that works out with the
We'll,
US being their biggest trading partner, if what they want
yeah,
to
we'll
do with
see
Russian
how it all
oil
works
or
out.
trading with the US.
Line, lines are being drawn in the sand right now, and unfortunately, Ukrainians are right in the epicenter of that. I
Yeah,
can tell you that Russia took out a key bridge in Kherson last night,
mhm.
for transit, hit it with 3,000
Missile. Yeah,
kilogram glide bombs. It didn't destroy the bridge, but it put a hole right in the center of it.
yep.
They've hit it again this morning at the same spot, so it's done. Um, Additionally, yesterday, Drushkivka, which is out in Konstantinivka, Kramatorsk, Slavyansk Circle,
Mhm.
was hit with Shahed drones and maybe something else. We're not really sure, but they were trying to hit a mobilization center, but they hit a shopping center. And that's not to say that a mobilization center is not in there somewhere, but the reality is, I know it is a shopping center. In fact, right where the explosion happened, there's a little shop that sells shawarma. And Jane and I have ate at that shop so many times. And I just can't explain to you the feeling when you're watching the summary video or the video of it, and I see the shop where I've stood in and ate with soldiers and
Mhm.
bought, stuff for them, or they've bought me a meal, and it was blown up.
Yeah,
It just makes it very personal. It's very, 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 it's difficult, but standing.
yeah.
Overall, I'm happy to see what I saw at the border. To be quite honest, I'm happy to see
So
that
so
because
you're there for another month plus, so
yeah,
stay safe,
thank you.
and, when you wanna get something out, we'll make sure you get it out, if not on your channel or at least on mine or both or whatever.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah, yeah. We'll be rolling nonstop, guys. I'm here now. Got some rest, and it's early Sunday morning there for you, Prof. It's Sunday late afternoon here, and I have to go out and get some errands done. I'm still trying to get my where I if I'm broadcasting from home, my apartment here, my little studio in the corner set up, and so this is very helpful to get a first update out with the first observations. So thank you very
Alright,
much.
stay safe. We'll talk
All
to you
right, buddy.
soon.
Be
Alright,
blessed.
bye-bye.